anyone who disagrees with them shut up. And of course, they've lectured us endlessly about something called diversity, as if that answers some relevant question.
Our diversity, our patchwork heritage is not a weakness. It is still and always will be one of our greatest strengths.
Our diversity is one of our greatest strengths.
Our great strength lies in our diversity.
We know our diversity is a strength, not a weakness.
Well, they all agree on that. It's hard to know exactly what it means, though, other than stop talking or else. We won't stop talking. If the president's going to be removed from office without a single vote from anybody outside Washington, D.C., then we deserve to have some simple questions answered. And we need answered for real, not just with a sneer and a ticket to the HR department for sensitivity training. So here goes. First, how has our current immigration system made America more stable and more prosperous? In your answer, please explain what happened to the state of California. It used to be called the Golden State, had a thriving middle class, had the country's best schools. Now the schools in California are a complete disaster, the middle class is vanishing, and the nation's largest mass of impoverished people remains behind to serve a tiny pool of tech oligarchs. How exactly did that happen? Next, how precisely is diversity our strength? Since you've made this our new national motto, please be specific as you explain it. Can you think, for example, of other institutions, such as, I don't know, marriage or military units, in which the less people have in common, the more cohesive they are? Do you get along better with your neighbors or your coworkers if you can't understand each other or share no common values? Please be honest as you answer this question. And if diversity is our strength, why is it okay for the rest of us to surrender one of our central rights, freedom of speech, to just a handful of tech monopolies? And by the way, if your ideas are so obviously true, why does anyone who questioned them need to be shamed, silenced, and fired? How about this question? After spending 2 centuries overcoming our country's painful history of racial discrimination and hatred, why is it once again acceptable, even encouraged, to attack people on the basis of their skin color? And by the way, since we're asking, if it's now possible to change your sex, is it possible to change your race too? If not, tell us why, and be specific. After spending more than $1 trillion and thousands of lives attacking Afghanistan, Iraq, and Libya, and getting nothing for it, why does it now make sense to start new wars in Syria and Iran? And after 30 years after the Berlin Wall fell, why should we still treat Russia as our main enemy while completely ignoring China, which actually is? And how about this? How is it fair to use public resources to bail out reckless financial institutions that caused the last economic collapse? Which other enterprises are eligible for tax dollars once they go bankrupt because of stupid decisions? Since we're living by this principle, does it apply to my household budget, for example? And this, is San Francisco better off covered in hypodermic needles and human waste? Is Baltimore better off since the police there decided to stop enforcing the law? How are Detroit and Gary, Indiana doing? Weren't you in charge of those cities? We've got a lot more questions. We could go on, but we're going to start with those. Before canceling democracy, Washington should answer those questions first. And we're going to start by asking them of